It was already a data breach that had risked the lives of tens of thousands of those who'd helped British forces in Afghanistan and their families. In another extraordinary twist today, it's emerged now that British names were also leaked and their lives similarly put at risk.
We learned today that there are about 100 British Special Forces, SAS, SBS and Security Service MI6 on the list who were involved, no doubt, in operations in Afghanistan. And our Special Forces and Security Service are absolutely crucial to the security of this country. And anything that makes their life more difficult really is a real danger to the security of this country.
While the Prime Minister was hosting the German Chancellor today, the real action was going on behind closed doors in the High Court, where the legal restrictions covering up the fiasco were still being unpicked. On Tuesday, we've been told the names of 18,714 Afghans who'd applied to be resettled had been leaked in February 2020. Then, in September 2023, a super injunction to protect their identities and prevent any reporting of the situation had been imposed. This afternoon, confirmation that the names of over 100 Britons who'd backed up the claims of Afghan colleagues were also on the list, including members of the Special Forces and Spies, putting those whose identities are always top secret at terrible risk.
It's not just the Taliban that are looking at these names, it's also Al-Qaeda, ISIS, the Russians, the Chinese, and every hostile intelligence organisation that's there. So it's helping them build a picture up as to who our special forces are. That's manna from heaven for an intelligence officer when you're looking at it.
On Tuesday, the Defence Secretary and the Shadow Defence Secretary apologised for the leak, and there will be an investigation by the Intelligence and Security Committee, but so far the government has not backed a wider public inquiry.
The more that we hear, quite simply, the worse it gets. Ed Davey, our leader, was calling for an inquiry yesterday. We absolutely urgently now need an inquiry into this data leak.
Tonight, the MOD is insisting that it takes the security of its personnel, particularly those in sensitive positions, very seriously. And ITV News understands that only their names and not contact details were leaked. But it was already clear that many of those who'd served alongside British forces had been terribly let down. Now it seems the Brits who tried to help them were too. Romilly Weeks, News at 10.
And Robert is here to reflect even further on this. I mean, this is as scandalous as it is dangerous. How on earth did this element of this scandal happen?
Well, look, that is the big question, given that, you know, for the Ministry of Defence, for our forces, security and secrecy is their business. Our nuclear deterrent is only effective because nobody knows where the nuclear submarine is at any particular point. On the 5th floor of the MOD, there are no phones, there are no connected computers because, you know, they don't want the Russians and Iran or any other of these bad actors to know our secrets. What's been revealed here is utter chaos in the run-up to that evacuation of both British nationals and the Afghans, people who helped our forces. You remember that in the summer of 2001, Operation Pitting, and what happened was basically there was this sort of mad cottage industry of people running around trying to get names, putting those names of vulnerable Afghans onto spreadsheets, and connected to those vulnerable names were endorsements from people like members of the Special Forces who could say, yes, this person helped me, or members of MI6, even members of MI5. And they say they were all on these variety of spreadsheets pulled together in apparently this giant spreadsheet. Now then, this reservist a bit later is trying to get some other Afghans out. He doesn't realise, this reservist member of the Special Forces, that he's sending a document out. He thinks it's just got a few names on it, but on other pages of this document, there are all these details about the vulnerable Afghans, about these British nationals in these extraordinarily vulnerable jobs. I mean, if the Taliban had never found out the names of, you know, members of the Special Forces who would have been engaged in operations, presumably killing members of the Taliban. I mean, their revenge would have been enormous. And as Romilly pointed out in her piece, actually, this kind of information is absolute gold to the Chinese, to the Russians, to the North Koreans. So incredible that this stuff got sent out. The other bit of it that is actually incredible when you think about it, given the scale, is that nobody has actually resigned yet. There will be these inquiries going on, but normally, with a breach of this sort, frankly, the head of the military, the head of the MOD, why aren't they considering their positions?
It's breathtaking. Robert, thank you very much indeed for that. Thank you.